Good evening, everybody. All right.
Hello.
How are you all doing?
Good.
Just getting started here. 1 second, folks. All right. Just about time for us to get our program started. And it's still,
Yes. How's it going, Edward?
it's still just hard to believe. It's hard to believe that some of the things that are happening are happening, but they are. They actually are. And it's not a fluke. It's not a one-off. It's not your imagination. You don't have to pinch yourself. If you're not getting results, 9 times out of 10, it's because you're just not taking enough of the product and you haven't been on it long enough. That's usually what's been the case so far. Because every once in a while we get someone that says, I wish I had those kinds of, dramatic results that people are having. Why isn't it happening for me? Most of the time, it's simply because of just the person is just not taking enough. And that's often what happens when it comes to certain things, almost any supplements that a person is taking. So, but anyway, let's get ourselves started. I wanted to share a couple of things with you all this evening. Have y'all been keeping up with the news lately? Anybody aware of what's happening as far as health and wellness is concerned? Anybody seeing anything unusual happening?
There's been a spike in RSV.
Spike in RSV? Yep. That's a big deal. Anything else anybody seeing? No?
Spike in heart attacks.
Yep, spike in heart attacks too. Stephanie, she sees something. Go ahead, Stephanie.
I know where I live at here in Washington, because we deal with this time of year a lot of gray and rain. We deal with a lot of anxiety and depression, which is probably all over. But I know that this is the time of year we do, and a lot of the kids, you find a lot of the kids deal with that depression and anxiety due to the weather.
Yeah. If it gets bad enough, it's a very serious issue. Thank you. And Edward, what are you seeing?
I just saw on the news tonight that all the children hospitals up there where you are in Massachusetts area, they're all full. There's a waiting list for children in the hospital to get a bed.
Yeah. It's a bad time to be looking for medical care. It's just not a good time for it. And they're real confused about it. And I'm not real sure as to what's taking place these days. So at least the public narrative is that they're not sure. One news outlet said that the reason why things are getting the way they are, more heart attacks and more things like that, is because of increased air pollution. There's a particulate in the air that's causing people to become more predisposed to having heart attacks. That's what they're saying. I don't know why you laughing, Rob. Come on.
That sounds like the old Yoki doke.
Why
Tell
you laughing,
You
Rob?
got doctor in front of your name. You just say whatever, and they're gonna believe it. Yeah, right.
Yeah, I don't know, Rob. That's could be. It could happen. It can happen.
True.
Oh, but that's what they're saying. That's what they're saying. And in other places, there's elements in the water. Others have presented things like what Stephanie said. It's cloudy. People have been cooped up for too long. The way that the body is dealing with these issues is just not the same as it used to be, and so on and so on and so on. All-cause mortality is higher now than ever. You know what that means? That means there's 16% more people dying pretty much globally right now than should be. So if you take the numbers before the pandemic, right now the number is 16% higher. than the rate they expected. Sobering, isn't it? Yeah,
Yes.
it should be. It should be. So that's the gloom, and that's the doom. Got a little bit more to share with you also, but there's an article that I think that it might be good for you to take a quick look at. But before we begin, it is a few minutes after 7 now, 7:12. We started right about 5 after, but just for the record, my name is Jonathan Jones, and it's my privilege to be your host and moderator for the evening. Today is Tuesday, and it's November the 22nd, 2022. Someone invited you here because they felt that there might be something here that could benefit you, something that you might be able to use, some information you may be able to take into consideration in dealing with your own, making your own health and wellness decisions. I strongly recommend that you seek the competent medical advice of professionals that you trust and realize that nothing that I'm saying is scripted. None of my comments have been evaluated by the FDA. You'll hear some testimonials, perhaps. Testimonials are anecdotal. What happens to one person may or may not happen to you. And Engage Global makes several products, and not the least of which is Micro Daily, Probiotic Boost, Brain Boost, Collagen Daily, and others. None of the products made by Engage Global should be considered as a treatment or cure for any disease state. So we're not making any medical claims here. I'm not a doctor, so please don't do anything I say because I say it. Seek advice of a medical professional that you trust, please. Now, there's an article that I stumbled across it earlier today. Let me see if I can find it. I really, really thought it was sitting there right on my computer because I just brought it up. So there's no reason why Zoom share shouldn't be able to see it. Did y'all ever have a situation where Zoom seems to have a mind of its own? Does anybody have that? Was that just me? Okay, there it is. I think what happens is that the computer decides to start saving resources. So when it starts saving resources, it hides things. And then not everything is visible to Zoom. When you go to look for it on that screen that says, here it is. But I really thought this article was interesting. It was a little bit sobering to me because we've been hearing a little bit about how COVID-19 has been causing gastrointestinal issues. You all have been hearing about those kinds of things, right? I hope so, because they've been talking about it. It took a long time before they admitted that COVID-19 actually cause GI problems, but now it's becoming more and more of a thing, which means that you really should pay careful attention to it. This document here is from the National Institute of Health, and look at the date. Look at the date. I mean, it just came in. I mean, I just got an email that said this was published on the National Institute of Health. It's the government's library of official medical documents. And the headline, COVID-19 disrupts gut microbiome. At a glance, the entire article can be summarized in 2 statements. COVID-19 disrupts the gut microbiome, allowing pathogenic bacteria to thrive. That should send chills up your spine. Line number 2, it can also affect the lining of the gut, which may allow these bacteria to enter the bloodstream and lead to dangerous secondary infections. If you didn't have chills going up and down your spine before, you should now. That should just make you cringe because it's absolutely mind-boggling. Now let's see if we can, I want you to just see a couple points in the article, if I can get it to cooperate here with us. Come on, article, cooperate. I guess that's an illustration of the gut biome, microbiome right there. But take a look. Let's see if we can't see a couple parts of this. The first paragraph tells you that there's trillions of microbes that live in the gut. The truth of the matter is we are pound for pound and microbe or cell for cell, we're actually more bacteria than we are human, because there's like 100 trillion bacteria in our body and only like 10 trillion human cells. So it's pretty amazing. So if you looked at yourself close enough, you'd see a lot of bacteria. Collectively, the variety of bacteria, fungi, and viruses is known as the gut microbiome. And you see what it says? Research has shown that changes in the gut microbiome may contribute to a variety of diseases and conditions. So they are actually acknowledging that what happens in our gut can be directly linked to a condition or disease that we may be dealing with. The very next paragraph, COVID-19 patients often have imbalances in their gut microbiome that allow antibiotic-resistant bacterial infections to take over. And again, that should just be sobering, and it's just a chilling statement. 2 paragraphs after that, they describe what researchers did. They took some laboratory mice that they had engineered to have ACE2 receptors, just like humans. Okay, so the ACE2 receptor, you probably already know this, right? But the SARS virus has those little spike proteins on it, and they link up right to the ACE2 receptors, usually in the throat, in the nasal passages, and they want to make it to the lungs. If they make it to the lungs, that's when you have severe respiratory issues. But it's that ACE2 receptor that's the problem. And you have them all over the body. They're everywhere, throughout the body. So wherever the spike protein is and wherever this virus goes, it wants to try to bind to ACE2 receptors. So they engineered some mice to make human ACE2 protein, which the SARS-CoV-2 can use to infect cells. They found a couple of things happen. They said they found out that the infection by SARS-CoV-2 led to, see that, a loss of species diversity in the gut microbiome. Of course, my pen isn't writing properly, but this is the last paragraph on the screen. 1, 2, 3, 4th paragraph down, 2nd line. Loss of species diversity in the gut microbes of these mice. You understand that? So when SARS-CoV-2 hit the mice, when it was able to penetrate into their cells, they found that the diversity in the gut was affected. The mice did not have as diverse of a gut biome as they normally did. Look at the next sentence. Infected mice also had changes in their gut lining. You know what that means? It went on to describe that led to inflammation, increased amounts of mucus being formed. More mucus in the gut, more inflammation, because the body now is trying to deal with this problem, an inflammatory response. And then in time, it says that these changes in the gut lining correlated with disruptions in the microbiome. Now, if I can get rid of this is blocking my view here on my screen. It's this last page, the last portion of the article, this study that they did that, again, was quite chilling. Stephanie, you had a question. Go ahead, please.
I just wanted to see, is there any way that can be made just a little bigger?
Hard to see it, right? Yeah, my computer just loves to just,
that's thank you.
Is that a little bit better?
Yeah.
Okay. The top paragraph you see, it says that the team examined the microbes in the stool samples of these of COVID-19 patients, and then they determined some of the same thing. But what was interesting is that some of the bacteria that they found in other parts of the body, kidneys and other areas, suggested that this bad or infecting bacteria, you see the second paragraph? In most cases, the species infecting the blood also turned up in the gut. So that suggests, last sentence in that same paragraph, every time somebody comes in, it takes over my screen so I can't see it, suggests that the infection may migrate from the gut to the bloodstream. So this bacteria is leaking out and getting into the bloodstream. They're finding it in different parts of the body, in organs also. That's what they're saying. So it's a little bit sobering, and maybe you're saying to yourself, so what? What's the big deal? Well, the big deal is what we saw a little earlier when the statement was made that it's antibiotic resistant bacteria that's making its way into the body. That's what begins to dominate. And this last sentence in the second paragraph here is not clear if COVID-19 or antibiotic treatment causes the microbiome disruptions in these patients. But again, they tested it on laboratory mice, and they found that it was taking place. They found that something was happening. There's a direct correlation between what COVID-19 is doing and a disruption in the gut microbiome. Why does that matter? It matters because Dr. Prasad made a probiotic, a very good probiotic and prebiotic. So I think that should actually be, a strong argument in favor of making sure that you keep this in your body. It's actually green, except that I'm using a green screen, so it's actually being blocked out. That's what makes it look great, because my background is now being superimposed on the it's superimposed on the bottle. That's so kind of interesting. But you want to make sure that you're taking that and keep your gut biome nice and strong. Was that Nicholas? That's somebody was just waving their hand there. No? Okay. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about why it is that we're here, and we'll get back to some of the specifics here in a little bit. But it's all about what the fuss has all been about. Why it is that everyone is so busy really taking a good look and so fixated on doing something. What is it that's making people feel the massive amounts of difference that they're feeling? Because we have a lot of testimonies that are coming up toward the end of our discussion, but just a real brief discussion right now on the options that we have. Because I want to share another story with you. Greg has been giving us some updates on his situation with his family, so that the news isn't all bad. Hate to start out with bad news. So let's shift over to some good news here, Greg. And you told us that you noticed some things in your health, your brother's health, and my
mother's health.
And your mother's health.
Yes.
Okay, so you got some updates for us, or you're just gonna give us an overview again and then give us the updates?
All right. Now, my mom's got COPD. She could leave her bedroom and go to the bathroom and be out of breath completely. She'd have to basically sit down to take a break while she goes to the bathroom. So, because she had to get her breath back to get back to her room. All right. Now, this was in July. All right. My brother-in-law, he's got diabetes, high blood pressure, and stage 4 kidney disease. Okay. And they both been on micro daily about, I'm gonna say about a month and a half. total. Okay, they started in, let's say, August 6th. So September, yeah, about a month and a half, almost 2 months. And my mom, the other day, I was on a Zoom call. When my good friend, he's on here, it's Willie G. And she was like, "Hey, I'll be back in a minute. I'm going to go to the vet to get a flea pill." So each day she's been walking farther and farther and farther, and now she can go and shop at Walmart, walk around the Walmart Supercenter, and come home and without being out of breath. And I'm sitting here like, well, and she really don't see it, but I
That's
see
amazing.
it. Okay. Now that right there is an A+ for her. Now I got her on the prebiotics for her stomach, health, gut. And she is energy and 78 years old, walking around cleaning the house and everything, like nothing's wrong with her. All right. That's my mom. Me, myself, I got more energy. I'm focused. I'm I was healthy to begin with, but the reason I got on Micro Daily for myself is because I don't like being sick and I don't want to be sick. So that's the reason I started taking it. I was like, okay. And there's a long story that Rob called me and I told him, I said, man, I don't do products, dude. I don't do them. He said, hear me out. Just test it out, man. Just test it. I was like, okay. So I got some of it, put it in. I was like, okay. About 4 or 5 days later, okay. About 2 weeks later, I'm like, man, I used to wake up hating the world. There's two things in life I hated to do was go to sleep and waking up. Right. And because I knew when I wake up, I was going to be ill. And so now I wake up fresh, loving everybody. Hey, what's up? Willie don't even have to ask me if I'm good to go to get on a Zoom. He just sends me a Zoom link now. So, but anyway, that's me. Now, my brother-in-law, man, I don't even know what to say about this. His blood sugar is leveled out. He's still at 114, 125. That was, before when he woke up, he tested it, and it was at 300, 350. After about 4 or 5 days of being on Micro Daily EMF, it went down between 114 and 125. He was happy just about that. All right, now his high blood pressure has leveled out. Okay, to where, he's scared to take his medicine for his high blood pressure. I said, no, go ahead and take it, dude. I said, you take your medicine, let the doctors tell you not to take it. All right. Now, yesterday, he's got stage 4 kidney disease, and he's going Wednesday for his checkup on it. He went and got his blood test, and we've been waiting on the score back from it's called the EGRF number, which tells you when you need to go on dialysis. His number last month was 15, which is 1 away from going on dialysis. Last night, when he got back yesterday, we checked his my chart. You ready for this, man? He'd been on it a month and a half. His number went from 15 to 26.
Did the doctor go back and check it again just to make sure?
We ain't went to the doctor yet. That was they sent him for a blood test a week before his appointment. So I myself is going with him on October the 5th to his appointment, and I want to see what the doctor has to say about what he's been doing.
Take a recorder.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So, but yeah, I was waiting. I said, don't let it stay the same or grow a point or two, because I will not shut up about Micro Daily. It went up 11 points. So I'm ecstatic. He's ecstatic. We was like, oh my goodness. So yeah, because I checked I got my little printout right here, man. I was going over it with Willie, and I said, look, mine's at 78 the last time they checked it. His went up 11 points. So I told Rob, man, I've been telling everybody. I mean, I got my flag planted, dude. Everybody and their mama's going to know about Micro Daily from Greg. I can tell you that, brother.
Well, That's a bittersweet piece of news there, Greg, because what you just said indicates that my other mother, if she had just continued, instead of heading toward dialysis, could have been a different outcome.
The reason I firmly believe they was wanting to cut on his arm, on his left arm, to put that little, I guess, device in there for his dialysis. And they was
Yeah.
like, well, they already told him, well, you're going to need dialysis anyway. Let's go ahead and get you started on that and get your report ready. And then, because it's going to take 4 to 6 weeks for it to heal. I was like, he's 1 point away. What happens if he needs dialysis now? And, he said, I'm going to wait until my doctor's appointment and see what the micro daily does.
Yep.
I said, might as well. So he waited, and it went up 11 points. So I'm ecstatic. I didn't go to sleep last night at 3 o'clock.
That's incredible. That's incredible. Well, that kind of gives you a pretty good idea of what we're talking about and why it is that we're making these statements that something unusual is taking place right now. What was it that Greg's brother-in-law got a hold of? What was it that his mother was taking that she benefited so dramatically from? What was it that Greg himself was taking that benefited him so dramatically? Well, you may have all figured it all out by now because they've been making some statements. Some of them have even said the word microdaily, but we have to just keep reminding you folks that we're not making any medical claims. What happens to one person may or may not happen to you. Testimonials are purely anecdotal. So that's all we can say. But what we can tell you with confidence is that somebody took the food out of our food. We can tell you that. And all microdaily is this daily nutrition. It's daily nutrition so that we can live our best life. And that's where we are with this right now. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about this daily nutrition and what it is that makes microdaily so special, what makes it so unique, and why it is that everybody should get a hold of it. Because this is not something that somebody just decided to make and throw on the market. We really shouldn't even have microdaily. The reason we have it is simply because the United States government decided that they want to keep the troops on the battlefield in optimal condition. So microdaily, it was originally called MMF. It was originally formulated for the troops, for the military. That's what it was all about. That's what it was for. So this is what it looked like originally. That's the packaging. When I first heard about it back in 2016, that's the way that it came. And it was all designed to go into the pockets right there on the side of those military fatigues for those soldiers. The government decided that they wanted to formulate this product, and they went to all the major vitamin companies could have answered the call. They all could have said, we can do this. Don't worry about it. We got this covered. But nobody did. No one stepped up except Dr. Prasad. Dr. Prasad answered the call. See, because he had been focusing on radiation. He had been doing all of the things necessary to have the wherewithal, to have the capability to put together a formula like this. And so he did. It started in 2001. All the safety tests were completed. It went to human clinical trials. All those were completed. Then it was just a matter of time before it was approved for human consumption. Now, to get to that point, there was 9 months of safety testing with the U.S. Military Internal Review Board. 9 months of safety testing. Dr. Prasad had to prove that MMF, which is now called microdaily, did not contraindicate with any known pharmaceutical drugs. This is the man who did it. This is the brain behind this product being formulated. And there's so many amazing accolades up here. It's hard to even know which ones to pick out. But this guy was the professor at the University of Colorado School of Medicine. So he was teaching doctors. He was just cranking them out. So this is the guy who was the director of vitamin and cancer research. He was also invited to be a member of the Nobel Peace Prize nominating committee. They just don't give that invitation to anybody. Linus Pauling was the guy who he patterned himself after. He said when Linus Pauling was giving his acceptance speech, he kept making reference to Dr. Prasad and his research and his works. But Dr. Prasad figured out which form of vitamin E happened to be cytotoxic to cancer cells. Vitamin E succinate. He's the scientist that figured that out. Vitamin E succinate kills cancer cells. He's the guy who figured that out. So there's more than one type of vitamin E. But to our subject matter, look at another thing that he also figured out. He was the first person to write about butyric acid. Now that's a small fatty acid formed by the fermentation of fibers in the gut, that it has anti-cancer properties to it. Dr. Prasad was the first one to make that observation. The first one to, let's mute you down there a little bit, Nick. The first one to write a paper on this butyric acid. And since then, there have been hundreds of other scientists that's going down that path and come to realization that butyric acid is significant. This man knows a little something about the gut. That's the whole point of that. He knows something about the gut. He's always wanted to formulate a probiotic. And how nice that is that we're the ones that get to benefit from the fact that this man has been dreaming about, forming a probiotic. So that's where we are. That's the kind of brain that we have behind this. So, and I think everybody really needs to kind of keep that in mind, exactly, who and what we're dealing with when it comes to this. Dr. Prasad partnered up with David Nemelka, very wealthy venture capitalist. Nemelka purchased the company and partnered with Dr. Prasad to get this company up off the ground. And it's because of that connection, that partnership, that arrangement right there that you see on the screen. It's because of that we have this opportunity that we have sitting in front of us right now, right at our fingertips. Otherwise, we would not have this. The stories that we're hearing would have been buried. Because once the military, for whatever reason, and believe me, there was a series of steps where the government stepped away from MMF. Because when something works, you just have to just have to ask yourself why. Who knows? Who knows what the real reasons are that causes something to step away? But the government has spent millions of dollars looking into certain things, and then they just drop it. They walk away from it. And this was one of those. This was one of those things. We're very fortunate that David Nemelka was connected to Dr. Prasad, and that this formula didn't just get buried. This is what's inside. It doesn't look very complicated. Doesn't look very special. You just look at it, it just looks like a nice multivitamin. But I assure you, after $24 million of research and a mind like Dr. Prasad's, this is anything but normal. No one has ever seen a multivitamin of this caliber before. The only formula that I've seen that ever came close to this was in another product that I saw do some absolutely remarkable things. But Dr. Prasad has made it so that instead of having to go through a lot of trouble to mix something up, and I used to have one of my clients referred to this product. They said it tastes a little bit like swamp water. I said, well, if you put some cinnamon and some nutmeg in there and some vanilla extract, you can actually just kind of cut it, and it takes the funkiness, away from it. She said, why would I mess up cinnamon, nutmeg, and vanilla with that? I'm just going to choke it and get it down. That's how she put it. So it was pretty nasty, but it worked. It worked. Still works. This is the only thing that I think still exceeds the efficacy of that. This is more convenient, and the price is so much more reasonable. Even if you went on a maximum doses, dosage of this, you could get a maximum dose for below $300. And when I say maximum, I'm talking therapeutic. So, but that's a whole nother conversation. It's Dr. Prasad who adheres to, the only one who adheres to the CQF standard. You see that seal on the product, it's because Dr. Prasad now has validated it. Dr. Prasad says, okay, it's good to go. Now, we talked a little bit about the gut a minute ago, and a study that the government did, or a group of researchers did, making a connection between COVID-19 and the gut. But there's a lot more to the subject than just what COVID-19 can do. There's a whole lot more to it because there's a little thing called free radicals and oxidative stress that also play a role. But if your body is busy fighting and trying to fight off bacteria, that's what can release what Dr. Prasad has been telling us a lot about, inflammatory cytokines. And you saw the article said that COVID has led to a buildup of mucus in the gut. That buildup of mucus is evidence of inflammation. So everywhere that this extra toxic thing it can be inside the body can be sending off inflammatory cytokines, and the immune system has to respond. If the immune system doesn't respond, the cytokines themselves become toxic. What you want is for your cells to look like this, but whenever there's toxins, free radicals or otherwise, it causes the cells to degrade. That's what leads to disease. So if you've got bacteria showing up in different parts of the body and the immune system not taking care of it, it's just a matter of time before it overwhelms the body. Just a matter of time. Dr. Prasad made a children's gummy. And by the way, if you really want to do your kid a favor, or any young person in your life, like my niece, for example, I make sure that my niece gets this product. But you want to do them a favor, you want to send them these gummies right here. Just keeping in mind what's going on. They taste good, so kids like them. But you want to make sure of that. Right now, you can buy 2 and get 1 free. So there's a BOGO going on right now. So instead of $180, it'll cost like $130. I think it's $65 a bottle, something like that. So it's not very expensive at all. But those gummies are really good, by the way. I usually keep a packet of them in a box right around my desk, but I must have gone through them. That was my snack for quite a while. The reason why that one is the one to go to is because it's built based on the EMF formula. The EMF formula is even better than the original military grade formula because it's got 4 additional ingredients in it. 4 additional ingredients all help with dealing with and ameliorating the impact of radiation, specifically 5G radiation. If you're saying to yourself, well, what's the difference between 4G and 5G? It's only 1G difference. Think again. 5G is 700 times more powerful than the original cell phone technology. 700 more times. And those first cell phones were like microwaves. I still remember owning one of those those early bricks, and I loved it when they got smaller. But the side of my face would be hot, and I used to get headaches. I never made the connection early on. It's a wonder that I'm still alive, to be quite frank with you. But because of the problem, look what it says. Look what's on the list here. Look what's on the list. Acute neurological abnormalities, hypersensitivity syndrome. So 5G and exposure to radiation really does cause serious problems. I mean, I started dealing with tinnitus, never thought that could ever happen. But you're talking about something alters heart and brain function, can cause DNA damage, can cause brain cancer, can cause breast cancer, can cause glioma, acoustic neuroma. I mean, how many omas can you come up with? Well, you got omas for their omas, but That's what 5G technology can do. Now, let me just move this one away here for one second. Let me see if I can erase that one. Take a closer look at the symptoms of this condition that's shown right there. Do you see it? Headaches, dizziness, balance problems, sleep disruption, disturbances, depression, Washington, emotional problems, fatigue, irritable behavior, lack of focus, and confusion. I mean, that pretty much describes like 99.9% of the human race. Microdaily EMF helps to ameliorate the issue. Look at what it does. 5G EMF radiation defense, anti-inflammation response. Now we're still talking, we're not even talking about the gut, but you've got something that's working against inflammation. Immune system boost. Immune system boost, whenever the cytokine pro-inflammatory markers are going off, what you need is for the immune system to respond. This is the immune system to respond. Then it neutralizes the cytokine system. So instead of becoming toxic, they did the job. They did the job. The immune system is able to do what it needs to do. DNA integrity and health, anti-aging, increased energy, natural cell defense. And I'm going to ask somebody right as soon as we're done here in a second, tell us about this increased energy. If you have experienced that with taking microdaily, just tell us a little bit about that. Engage Global has come up with CBD. CBD, by the way, binds to receptors that the SARS-CoV-2 want to bind to in the brain. So there was a study that was done on that about 2-3 years ago. So if you want to do yourself a favor, take one CBD in the morning and one in the evening. You'll sleep better in the evening if you take it, but take one during the day to protect you. You got CBD receptors in every cell in your body, but this populates those places where the SARS-CoV-2 wants to go. So COVID brain is real. Long COVID is real. We're going to be having a discussion with Dr. Prasad about that late in the middle of next month as well. So you can look forward to that. But these are two other formulas of the microdaily that's been produced. This one now is one of my favorite, the Brain Boost. I take 2 of those in the morning. It's like having a double shot of espresso. And I personally cannot believe how this improved my vision. I did not think it was bad. So I'm hoping that I'll go down the road where I won't need my reading glasses anymore. But I spend so much time on the computer, I don't think anything's going to make a difference there. But it looks better, I tell you that. I can see a lot better. I've actually been able to pick up my phone in the middle of the night, and I can see what time it is. And I can tell how much power is left on my phone. I can, in the morning when I get up, I can read text messages without my glasses on. So I've never been able to do that before. It was just absolutely impossible. I always had to keep 2 or 3 pairs of reading glasses all over the place. I would buy like 6 of them to make sure that I have them. Have, a pair in the car, have a pair in the bathrooms, have a pair at my desk, have a pair in the dining room, sitting chair, watching television, wherever. I had pairs of reading glasses all over the place. I've gotten up in the mornings and even sometime during the day, and I'm reading my phone without reading glasses on, which is really actually kind of shocking for me. I see a raised hand. Go ahead. Who's got the hand up? I just got a couple more comments here, but go ahead with this. No? Okay, maybe that's a fluke. We'll come back to you later. I'm almost done with this presentation. We'll take your questions in just a couple minutes. But the iBoost is absolutely amazing. You do not want to just say to yourself, I don't need that. You'll be amazed at how much clearer your vision will be. I mentioned a little bit about DNA repair. So keep that in mind. This is an indication of what happens when rabbits are exposed to high levels of radiation. And that's what happened. They did a test, a clinical study, where they zapped these 2 rabbits with massive amounts of radiation. This one had a nice meal, food, but this one had food and the food that's missing from food. They also gave it the micronutrient formula. Look at the lung tissue. These are lungs. This is the one that got fried. I mean, they both got fried, but that's what this one's lungs look like afterwards. This one looks like it never got exposed. It died because it was a lethal dose of radiation, but look at the lungs, the protection of the lungs. That is just the most beautiful things right there. So you ask yourself a question. Would you rather your insides look like you've been smoking 10 packs of cigarette a day? Or would you prefer, we're all being exposed to radiation, would you prefer that they be kept fresh and pristine like that? I think that's the better way to go, folks. So that's a strong argument for keeping this stuff in your body. The last strong argument I want to make is this one right here. It's got a patent for the treatment of diabetes. Enough said. 130 million people who are diabetic or predisposed to diabetes. Right now, this has a patent that includes the words treatment for diabetes. Now, I'm not telling you it treats diabetes. So please don't go away from here saying that Jonathan said microdaily treats diabetes. I am not saying that at all, because only the government can declare anything to be a treatment or cure for disease. Now, I'm not making any medical claims at all. This is not considered a treatment or cure for any disease. I'm not saying that at all. But I can tell you that there's a patent, and the patent number is 7605145. And the title of that patent specifically is Micronutrient Formulations for the Treatment of Diabetes Mellitus. There it is. You decide what that means. You decide why they put the word diabetes, treatment and diabetes in the same sentence. You decide whether or not there's any association between those two words. You decide. These are some of the books that Dr. Prasad has written. And that's he's up to number 32 now. And I think it's really amazing that he's written this one. This coming Friday evening, by the way, Jeff and I are going to be doing we're going to do have a discussion about some of the research Dr. Prasad has done on diabetes. So, and then the first weekend in December, we're gonna take that discussion to Dr. Prasad himself on Sunday at 5 o'clock. This coming Friday evening at 6 o'clock, not Thursday, Friday evening at 6 o'clock. There'll be no meeting on Thursday. 6 o'clock Friday evening, we're going to be having a discussion. Me and Jeff. It's a Black Friday special, by the way. And for those, anyway, some of you will get some notifications about why that's going to be so special also. So there will be something special going on there. But if you're hearing this message right now, you're invited. Okay, you can come, and you can invite your guests if you want. Fridays at this coming Friday, this Friday only. It won't be any other Friday. This Friday only is the Black Friday special. Okay, we're going to be talking about diabetes, a lot about diabetes, and the research that this man has done on diabetes is absolutely mind-numbing. Okay, so we're going to go over it a little bit, and then we'll have a chance to talk to Dr. Prasad about it. The very next weekend, you want to bring every single human being that you know to that. So this man wrote the book on fighting diabetes with vitamins and antioxidants. The title doesn't sound very exciting, but you crack it open, it'll blow your mind. Absolutely, absolutely blow your mind. No question about it. So there it is with, in a nutshell, the snapshot of what microdaily is. What was Greg talking about? He went through 3 family members just like that. Bam, 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 bam. And all of them had plethora of issues that was plaguing them. But putting the food back in their diet made a difference. It's a beautiful thing, isn't it? Okay, so let's just pause there for a minute. And I didn't send you a note, Nick, about one of the other stories that we could share with folks, but that's okay. We'll see if there's some questions right now before we wrap up. We're just about the end of our discussion. Go ahead, Nick. Why can't I hear you?
Because I had my microphone off. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay.
I tell you about that energy level that you were talking about. I'm not even supposed to be up right now. I wake up at 3 in the morning every day to go to work. And so it's given me so much energy that I'm allowed to do things that I normally should not be doing. And also my mind is quickening or getting quicker and all that great stuff. So it's phenomenal.
There we go. Energy. And think about it. Brain fog is plaguing so many people right now. Brain fog. We joke and we call it sometimers, but there's nothing funny about it. It's serious. It's serious. Go ahead, Stephanie.
I was just sharing with Dolores, she was the one that told me and my mom about the product. I used to do hair. I retired from doing hair, and me and my two girls are on the product, my daughter and my granddaughter. And it's probably been about a month. And the only thing we started out with, my mom, she sent us a big box. She had bought the gummies, the 2 for 1. And all of us, that's all we've started out with is the gummies that we've been taking for about a month. However, the other day I was telling her, I noticed I did my whole same hair routine in the other day, and the softness that my hair felt, it was amazing. Just from taking, we just doubled up, me and my daughter, the gummies, but just the nutrients that has gotten in, and whatever you take into your body it's in your hair. So I was telling her that I noticed it in my daughter too. And I just said for myself, when you do hair, I would always tell people whatever you take in is going to affect the how healthy your hair is. And so that was just something I told her, I said, I have to share this because there's so many things that we could see that has happened already. But that was the one that stood out because I always am I'm always conscious about hair and things, but that was the thing that really stuck out, as I could tell that my hair was so much softer, and my daughter, her hair was so much softer.
Wow. That's beautiful. Thank you very much. I'm glad you shared that. You know, a lot of folks are also talking about their nails being very, very hard. You know, so you can expect that to happen too. So, because the kind of nutrients or lack thereof in the body also shows up in your nails. So, very good. Thank you, Stephanie, for making that confirmation for us. Okay, before we wrap up, let's see if there's any questions that anyone has. Any questions? Nick, please go ahead.
I actually had a question from one of my people. They wanted to know if you can use a HSA account, a health savings account, I believe it is, to purchase a product.
That would really be a question that they've got to ask their insurance company. They need to let them know exactly what the products are, let them know that the company is a micronutrient company, and send them the information on it, and they will tell them whether they can use the nutrition or vitamin allowance that they are allowed every year to for that. I've heard that some have been able to do it, but I cannot say for sure.
All right, thank you.
You're quite welcome. Thank you. Go ahead, Sharon, please.
I was just wondering whether or not y'all was still gonna meet on Sunday. I just thought it'd be a good idea if you did, since everybody's gonna be with their family. Bye to everybody.
Yeah, there's been a mutiny ever since I said that we were not going to have a meeting on Sunday. So I've heard that there's been an APB out. So if I want to get that contract off my head, we're going to have a meeting on Sunday. So the only meeting that's canceled, it's not really canceled, is the one on Thursday. It's been moved to Friday. And we will have a meeting on Sunday. So we can get the word out that we will have a meeting on Sunday. Okay, so thank you. Thank you, Sharon, for asking about that.
Mm-hmm.
And Maxine, please.
My question is, I know the probiotics, it helps your stomach. How far does it go when it's on, if you have leaky gut?
Leaky gut is harder to address, and a probiotic, it does benefit it, and there's some research on it. I asked Dr. Prasad about it. There is some research that indicates that probiotic will in time ameliorate leaky gut.
Okay.
But the best thing, the quickest resolution to leaky gut is immunoglobulins. And I forget specifically which ones, IgE, IgA, I forget which ones, but a variety of immunoglobulins, it thickens the epithelial in the gut. See, the stomach is only like one cell thick, so it's very, very thin, very porous. But these immunoglobulins makes it thicker, and instead of there being leaks, space in between, it closes it right up nice and tight. The
Okay.
best thing that does it is bovine colostrum.
Okay.
Bovine colostrum. I know it sounds crazy, right?
French, Spanish, somebody.
What's that?
I said, you sound French, Spanish, somebody.
What do you mean?
You speaking another language.
Ah, okay. I went to Mars there for a minute.
Okay.
That's
somebody.
Maxine.
Colostrum is the first milk. Now, human colostrum has 50% of the immune system programming code. Bovine, which is a cow, colostrum has 100% of the immune system programming code. When we eat colostrum, besides it helping the immune system in a number of ways, one of the things it does is makes the stomach thicker and plugs up leaky gut. Now, you might be saying to yourself, how in the world do I know that much about colostrum and leaky gut? Well, I'm married to leaky gut. I spent a long time and a lot of money trying to figure out what was wrong with my wife. And it made me somewhat of an expert on leaky gut, because after $100,000 and going to every specialist on the planet, nobody could find anything out. I read a book on the airplane and there was the answer.
Wow.
There was the
So where
answer.
did you get that from?
There's a website you can go to. The best one that I found so far is our company represents them now, AmerexBio.com, AmerexBio.com. I'll put it in the chat. That's the best one that I found, because we will never run out of it. My mother-in-law takes it. I take it. The cats take it. Everybody takes it. You mix it up with Micro Daily. Woo. Anyway, that's my story. I'm sticking to it.
Thank you.
But it's called Immune RX. So, and there's a lot of them out there on the market, by the way. So there are tons of them out there, tons of colostrums out there. Most of them is powdered water. I mean, milk. They're pretty much garbage. But you take 1 scoop of that before every meal, and about the scientist who formulated it, brilliant guy out of New Zealand. He said in about 90 days, not only will all the leaks have stopped, but the entire immune system will just about have reset itself. So the antibodies being created for foods will go away. And it took about 90 days to the day. My wife can eat anything I could eat now. She's no longer allergic to all those foods she used to be allergic to. Yeah, it's mind-boggling. It's mind-boggling. So the immune system is pretty amazing. 80% of the immune system is in the gut. So you take that along with the probiotic, especially if a person is dealing with leaky gut, if you want to speed the process up, the Immune RX, the colostrum, will speed the process up of sealing the gut. The probiotic repopulates the gut biome. That is just amazing. Just 1 capsule a day is all it takes. Now, just yesterday or Sunday evening, Dr. Vincent said he was taking, I think, 4 of the probiotics per day, along with Micro Daily, to get that whole lead poisoning out of his body from Flint, Michigan, water thing. So you can't overdose on them. If you get to the point of diarrhea, you're taking too much, just back it down. Go ahead, Dolores, please.
Jonathan, I had a problem with my bacteria. I had bad bacteria in my gut. I didn't have the leaky gut. I had a bad bacteria. Put me in the hospital.
Yes.
And Immune RX, I'm waiting on my order to come right now. I do not want to be without it. I have to spray and the powder, and it really works.
I'm glad you mentioned that, Dolores. Now, Micro Daily absolutely is the ticket when it comes to a robust immune system, no question about it. But when it comes to arresting serious bacterial infection, we have found it. Dolores is one example of it. My sister was another example of it. Another client in California, several clients. One in particular, she was given like they gave her up for dead. They had no antibiotics for her at all, none. And they put her out. They put her in hospice and said that, sorry, there's nothing else we can do. She took ImmuneRx, the spray, so liquid colostrum, the spray under the tongue. And in just a few days, the bacterial infection was ameliorated. It was gone. So I do recommend that. I highly recommend that everybody should have some on hand. We keep it, period. We will always have it. So when it comes to dealing with a bacterial infection, nothing replaces the robust immune response of microdaily. Nothing. But when it comes to bacterial infection, the quickest resolution that we've found so far has been ImmuneRx. Okay. In fact, I've seen folks with things like, anybody familiar with H. pylori? You don't want to get that one, because the antibiotic they have to give you is vicious. And there's another one called Pseudomonas. Anybody familiar with that one? The antibiotic that they put you on for that is called Cipro. And they actually have to put you in the hospital and give you an IV drip of Cipro if you get Pseudomonas. And vicious, the antibiotic is vicious. Anyway, ImmuneRx, a little bit of spray under the tongue, has been knocking out bacterial infections. I'm talking even when folks have been on robust immune system products that raise glutathione levels. So your immune system has to be very smart to be able to identify a bacteria and get it out of your bloodstream, okay? ImmuneRx. So the website is amerixbio.com, ImmuneRx. There's a spray and a powder. The leaky gut specifically is the powder, Maxine. The spray is about rebooting the immune system, okay? Reset, and it wipes out allergies and all kinds of other stuff and helps the immune system identify bacterial infection. Okay. All right. Very good. Thank you for bringing that up, Dolores. I keep forgetting about sharing more details on that. I should share it more often with folks, just so people get better results with things. Okay. All right. We've gone a little bit over time tonight. Sorry about that, folks. Some technical problems created it, but just keep in mind, COVID. This is brand new information that's hot off the press. COVID is affecting the gut. So you're armed now, armed with information. It is affecting the gut. That's a strong argument for the probiotic, and it just came out. I'll share that in the WhatsApp chat for anybody that wants it. I printed the article, and I'll share the actual article itself in the healthcare support WhatsApp chat. Okay, so see you guys on Friday evening at 6 o'clock. There'll be hopefully there'll be a message that will go out about it. I'm not sure, but you now know. So share it with others in your group, and we'll tell you about the Black Friday special that we'll be sharing Friday evening. But put it to you this way: bring as many diabetic guests with you as you can. Okay, bring as many diabetic guests with you as you can this coming Friday night. There is a Black Friday special just for them. Okay. All right. Very good. Guys, have a good night. We'll see you on Friday evening.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Good night.
Good night.
Let's go.
Good night, everyone. Thank
Good
you.
night.
Night. Night. See you, Stephanie.
Thank you.
All right.
Good night.
Let's go.
Thank you, Nicholas. Thank you, Rob.
They got an all women
Welcome,
call
Jonathan.
tonight.
All women's call.
tonight.
Good job, Jonathan.
It's in the chat. It's in the chat.
In the chat, all women's call. Make sure you get that. Get on it. Get on it. All right. Oh, I don't see it either. Where is it?
It was up there, wasn't it? Daryl put it up.
Oh, there it is.
Daryl's on it.
Yeah, you have to scroll up a little bit. But what I need to do is I need to
There you go.
I need to take that and put that in the healthcare support chat. Okay, I'll put it in the healthcare support chat also. Starts at what, 8 o'clock?
It says
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. 8 o'clock.
8 o'clock Eastern.
Yeah.
Oh boy, everybody just barely got time to get on it then. Okay. Good thing
Oh, they
to shut
probably
it
gonna go
down.
about a good 2 hours.
Yep, yeah, they will. Yes, they will.
Daryl, you think
All
I
right,
can stay up
everybody.
that long?
Yeah, you
Let's
strong, but not that strong,
go.
right?
Yes, sir.
Love it, Daryl. Love it, Daryl. Thank you. All right, have a good night, guys.
All right, peace, love.
Bye-bye. Uh-oh.